Hi everyone, it's Derek from the iReady podcast here, and this is my reaction to the one each draw against St Mirren in the Premiership today. 3 games played, 3 draws, 3 games where the opposition should have won, 3 games with no goals from open play, 3 games with defensive calamities, 3 games with no decisive shots, and 3 games where we were outfought, outmuscled and outworked. See if we were peppering the opposition goal, making the keeper work, making the keeper have the game of his life, I could maybe, just maybe understand. But that's not happening. I've always been one for giving managers time, but you need to see improvements. At the very least, a sign of what the manager is trying to do. But I don't think anybody can just now. There was so many decisions in that game. That game was a microcosm of this season so far, where everything I've just highlighted there, and it was just throwing players on in random positions, doing random things. No player seemed to have a clue what was happening. I really just don't get it. I've not listened to any of his post-match yet. Well, that'll be quite an interesting one. But, you know, as I said on Twitter earlier on today, Dave and I gave him maybe the next 3 games, St Mirren, Bruges and Celtic, to at least have a chance at keeping his job. But I'm sorry, there comes a point when there's just nothing working so far. I mean, today we lined up with no recognisable striker. I don't know what that was all about at all. Eggman is on the bench, whether he is injured, whether they're not wanting to put him on because there's a potential transfer there and they might get injured. I don't know. If you're going to do that, just keep him out the team altogether. Danilo, that shows you how far down the pecking order he is if he can't even get a game in. We've not even got a recognised striker on. But today we lined up Butland, Aaron, Suter, Fernandes, Mighoma, Rothwell, Raskin, Cameron, Antman, Gassama and Asgard. On the subs bench we had Kelly, Tavernier, Barron, Diamandi, Dowell, Eggman, Moore, Curtis and Danilo. So really, from minute 1 today, it was quite clear the way we were playing. They just didn't have a clue. They didn't want to try. So many times when they were just casually jogging back, we're playing such a high line, which, as I've said, we don't have the defence to play a high line and rely on a sweeper keeper. On the 5th minute, Antman plays a poor ball forward and loses out, however, chases the ball, wins it back, drives it forward and goes direct and has a shot from outside of the box and saved from the keeper. That was a good effort there. From there, that's when everything started to go downhill because we went within our shell again. St Mirren were clearly the more dominant team throughout the game. They dominated at large pieces of the midfield. We lost out. On the 18th minute, it was a free kick by St Mirren. It was knocked on and a floated ball into our box, and the St Mirren player had a header right at Butland. 21st minute, Mighoma loses the ball in our half. A quick break by St Mirren, ending in a shot wide from within our box. 24th minute, St Mirren pressing us. We managed to get the ball down the left with Mighoma, who put in a good cross into the box, and Cameron with a volley over the bar from close range. 25th minute, a cross from the right from St Mirren. Aaron's getting bullied, but fortunately the ball goes wide. And you could see it coming on the 32nd minute, St Mirren with a goal to make it 1-0. Our 2 defenders were sitting on the halfway line. A simple ball between them. The St Mirren player runs between them, gets the ball, gets inside the box and shoots into the net. There was a quick VAR check for offside, but the goal stood. Fernandes was jogging back. You know, certainly I can't remember who the other defender was, but he was bursting the gut to try and get there, and at least he tried to keep up with the St Mirren player. But Fernandes just casually jogging back, that is absolutely disgraceful. You cannot have that in our team at all, especially when you're sitting that far up and you've just lost the ball. A simple ball right the way through you. Defence are shambles as ever. 37th minute, St Mirren had a shot over the bar. 38th minute, there was some scrappy play, ending in Asgard poking the ball towards goal, and the keeper, who was on the deck, managed to clear it off the line with a good save. And to round out the half, 45th minute, Gassama on the edge of the box on the left, turns his player, gets a shot off, but a comfortable save from the keeper. So into half time, could have made, once again, I've said that just about every game, a number of changes here. We did make changes this time with Mighoma and Antman coming off, Moore and Danilo coming on. Can agree with the subs coming on, don't understand the reasons for the positionings, the players coming off. 50th minute, from a chance that we had, which was easily cleared before their keeper was called into action, St Mirren went right up the park, direct, and forced a good save out of Butland. You know, that's been our problem for a number of years now. This is not just unique to Martin, where any chance we have breaks down before their keeper's called into action, whereas every single time an opposition team get up the park and make our keeper pull off a save. Whether it's a big save or not is academic, it still ended up in the keeper's arms. It's not good enough at all. 67th minute, Asgard with a turning shot from distance at Trundles by the left post. That was his last piece of action because he came off in the 65th minute and Diomande came on. 68th minute, Aaron's off and Tavernier on. 71st minute, there was a long free kick from St Mirren from the left to the centre, headed to the right side over our box to Gogic, who was in space, and he blasted it high and wide. Should have been in. Maybe Rothwell, one of the few decent-ish things he'd done all day, maybe put him off. He did come off though in the 76th minute, Rothwell off and Curtis on, and what an impact that player had, because in the 78th minute Curtis drew level to make it one each. There was a corner in from the right, knocked it clear to the edge of the box by our own player, right to Curtis, who has a shot on the deck, a first time shot, slight deflection off two players and into the bottom left corner. I've said all along, I don't care how they go in, just have a shot and these things can happen. 90th minute, Cameron with some great tenacity to win the ball back on the left side, passes inwards, passes to Tavernier, who switches, has a shot, deflects off a player, then deflects off the head of a defender, and a great save from the keeper out for the corner. Unlucky shot, was just even better for the keeper though. And the last piece of play here I've got is the 93rd minute, a long free kick from St Mirren, floated to the centre of the box, Gogic with a looping header, it was going in but a great save out for the corner by Butland. So, time and time again, forcing our keeper into great saves, we can't do anywhere near the same as what they're doing to us. There needs to be questions called by the board now of the management, because this cannot go on. That's 6 points dropped in our first 3 games. I know this is a process, but we need to see something, and we're seeing absolutely nothing. The players are clearly clueless on the pitch. They're either not getting coached or they don't understand the system, and that's a communication issue. As I said, I've always been one to defend managers, give them a wee bit more time, but it just seems to be the whole team now is out in their arse, and something needs to change, and very quickly, because this season will be over next week by the look of it, because we're already 6 points behind Celtic. We could go 9 points in August. Conversely, we could obviously go with only 3 points behind them if we win, but that's not really the point, is it? Because we've been so bad up until this point. But anyway, we won't have a main podcast this week because Dave's off gallivanting abroad for the next week or so. I'll be back with you with a post-match after the Bruges game. We'll see what happens there. So, thanks for listening and goodbye.